The message comes in. You see it light up your screen. You read it, all of it. You even write the reply in your head, word for word. And then you put the phone down, not because you're busy, not because you're ignoring them. You just don't send it. And a day passes, then 2. Their name sits there in your phone like a small unpaid debt. And when you finally do reply, you open with 4 words you've typed 1,000 times. Sorry, just saw this, which is a lie, and you both probably know it. You saw it instantly. You always do. To everyone else, this makes you the flaky one, the unreliable one. Maybe someone has even asked you in that careful, wounded voice, "Do you actually care? Because it takes you forever to get back to me." And you didn't know how to explain that you do care, that you might care more than they realize. You just couldn't make your thumbs move. But what if the delay isn't carelessness at all? What if it's the opposite? What if some quiet part of you understood something about messages that the people firing off instant replies never quite figured out? Because psychologists have actually studied this. And what they found says a lot more about the people demanding the fast reply than about the one who waits. Stay with me. Let's start with what a text message actually is, because we've all quietly forgotten. A text is asynchronous. That's the entire design. It was built to be answered whenever it's convenient for you. Unlike a ringing phone, which demands you drop everything and pick up right now, somewhere along the way, we lost that distinction. We started treating every notification like a phone ringing in our hand. A little buzz, and a clock starts. Reply in seconds, you're attentive. Minutes, you're busy. Hours, you're rude. Days, and apparently something is wrong with you. A psychologist named Larissa Barber, working with Alicia Santucci at Northern Illinois University, gave this pressure a name back in 2015. They called it telepressure. The urge to respond immediately, fused with a preoccupation that won't let you rest until you do. And here's what their research found. People high in telepressure don't end up more loved or more connected. They end up more exhausted. Worse sleep, higher burnout. A nervous system that never gets to clock off because there's always one more open thread tugging at it. So sit with that. The instant reply isn't proof of caring more. Very often it's the sign of someone who simply can't sit with the discomfort of a message left open. It's not patience, it's pressure. And you, the so-called slow one, you might just be someone whose nervous system quietly refused that deal. But it runs deeper than self-protection, and this is the strangely beautiful part. Back in the 1920s, a psychologist named Zeigarnik noticed something odd. We remember unfinished things far more vividly than finished ones. An incomplete task doesn't sit quietly in storage. It stays open, like a browser tab you forgot to close, humming in the background, eating your attention. Decades later, researchers Masicampo and Baumeister confirmed it. An unfinished goal bleeds into everything else, pulling at your focus until it's done. Now think about what an unanswered message really is. It's an open loop, a tab that won't close. And here's the thing about people who reply slowly. For a lot of you, you don't feel that loop less than everyone else. You feel it more, so much more that you can't bring yourself to slam it shut with a hollow, "Haha, yeah, for sure." You refuse to half-answer the people who matter. So you wait. You wait for the version of yourself that has the time, the energy, the presence to close the loop properly, to give a real reply instead of a reflex. And then the quiet trap springs. The reply that has to be good because now it's late keeps getting later, precisely because it has to be good. The guilt stacks, the thread gets heavier, and the messages you fall furthest behind on, they're almost never the strangers. They're the people you love the most, because those are the ones you refuse to answer badly. There's a strange kind of devotion hidden in that, even if no one else can see it. But, And this matters. Not everyone who replies slowly is doing it from the same place. And if you really want to understand yourself here, you have to be honest about which one you are. For some, it's protection. Your brain learned somewhere that being instantly available to everyone is the fastest road to being drained by everyone. So you took your attention off the open market. That's not coldness. That's a boundary. For others, it isn't a choice at all. If your brain runs short on what researchers call executive function, the machinery of starting tasks, holding them in mind, and sensing time pass, a message can vanish the second you look away from it. You read it, your brain files it under later, and later silently becomes never. It's not that you don't care. It's that your mind runs on two settings, now and not now. Studies in the Journal of Attention Disorders tie this to real differences in the brain's dopamine and prefrontal systems. It was never laziness, and the guilt that follows is its own quiet punishment. And then there's a third group, and this one's worth sitting with honestly. A 2025 study out of Vanderbilt found that people with a more avoidant attachment style, people for whom closeness has always felt a little like a demand, text less and slower. For them, the delay does a quieter job. It keeps a little distance. It keeps a little control. It makes sure nobody gets too close, too fast. So ask yourself the honest question, are you protecting your peace, or are you protecting yourself from people? Because those look identical from the outside. Same delay, same, sorry, just saw this, and completely different on the inside. One is a boundary, the other is a wall, and only you know which one you've been building. But here's what I want you to actually hear, especially if you've spent years apologizing for this. You're not rude, you're not flaky, you're not broken. For most of you, the slowness was never the absence of care. It was care that refused to be cheap. You'd rather be late and real than instant and empty. In a world addicted to the fast, hollow reply, you held out for the slow, true one. And if you saw yourself in that third group, if the honest answer was wall more than boundary, that's not a verdict against you either. It just means there's something to tend to. And here's the good news. The fix was never to become a fast texter. It's one sentence. One small, honest sentence you can send to the people who matter. I'm terrible at texting back. It's slow, and it is never, ever about you. The single sentence turns a wall into a boundary. It lets the people you love stop reading your silence as rejection. It costs you almost nothing, and it gives them everything. So let the message wait, if waiting is what lets you answer it like a real person. You're allowed to reply when you can actually be present. You're allowed to treat your attention as something precious instead of something owed. You're allowed to refuse the leash as long as you remember to tell the people who love you that it was always the leash you were saying no to, and never them. So the next time their name sits in your phone for 2 days, and that small voice whispers that you're rude, that you're failing at something everyone else finds easy, pause. Maybe it was never rudeness at all. Maybe you simply never agreed to be available the way the world decided you should be. And maybe that's not a flaw to fix. Maybe it's a line you drew long ago without ever realizing how wise it was. If this one found you, do the small things that help it find the next person. Like it, share it with someone who'd get it, and subscribe. I make these for the people who love these sort of videos. I'm glad you're here. And remember, nothing was ever wrong with you. You were just answering on your own time.